house tribe. Come on up in the room. I got a good topic tonight. I got a good topic. Very great topic. So y'all come on up in the room. We are talking about hair typing. Okay, let me make sure I got everything set up. Yeah, hair typing. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It's Friday. I just came from a little datey date. You know what I'm saying? So I said, let me go ahead and go live. I did a little solo date tonight, and it was nice. It was a vibe. Okay, I would encourage. This is a sidebar. I would encourage y'all, if y'all single out here in these streets, take yourself out on a date. Get cute for yourself and treat yourself. Okay, so that's what I did. So anyway, we ain't get here to talk about that. We'll talk about that later, maybe if y'all still up here. So today we're going to be tonight we're going to be talking about hair typing. Now, this is a thing that you hear a lot in the natural hair community, and even me myself, I have like some videos where I'll say, watch this curl definition on 3B hair, watch this curl definition on 3C. And the reason why I use that terminology sometimes with y'all is so y'all can it can be more relatable. But I'm going to just be honest with you. When I went to cosmetology school, they did not teach us the whole hair typing system thing, like 1A, 3B, 4C, 3D. You know all of that. They don't teach us that in cosmetology school. Now, when I went to school, I obviously this was back in 2000 and I want to say 2010, 11, 2011. So you got to think it's 2022 now. And at the time when I attended school, they didn't touch much on natural hair. What we learned about natural hair in cosmetology school when I was in school was how to relax it. Okay? It was not a big thing with learning natural hair and how to care for it. It was like when I was in cosmetology school, it was like they focused more on like doing relaxers and stuff and roller sets. We learned about how to do manicures, pedicures, just the whole cosmetology thing. When we actually I remember when we got to the section about natural hair, which I was excited about that. I was, always into natural hair because if y'all don't know my backstory, I graduated from a 4-year university, but when I was in college, I actually went natural. I always did hair on the side. It's always been my passion. I always enjoyed it. So when I graduated from Fayetteville State University, Bronco Pride, shout out to my Broncos that's walking, FSU, stand up, you know what I'm saying? When I graduated from school, I could not find a job in my field. So I always did hair on the side, growing up in high school and college. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get licensed because I do this on the side and I can't find a job in my field. So let me go ahead and get licensed. So when I graduated, I went to cosmetology school, and before I even went to cosmetology school, I was really into natural hair. And it was also during a period where I think Michelle Obama and President Obama was, the president at the time. And so we had seen Michelle Obama wear her natural hair. And we was like, oh, that's beautiful. So, it really started to trend. That's when YouTube really had started. Hey, Tashara! That's when really YouTube really had started. I want to say like around 2008 when YouTube really started. I might be wrong, but this is during the time when I was in college. So I'm Googling, going on YouTube and seeing these girls going natural. So when I went to hair school, I was thinking that maybe it would be more on that. But again, this was in 2011 when I was in hair school. So they wasn't really touching on that. It was kind of like a new thing. It was buzzing on the internet, like on YouTube, but they really wasn't teaching that in cosmetology school. So again, when we got to the natural hair section, it was basically like they taught us how to start locks. The only thing they taught us about natural hair in cosmetology school, this is when I was in school. Again, it's 2022 now. They actually have natural hair school, so the curriculum is probably totally different. But they taught us how to start locks, how to braid and braid with extensions. I think during and again, cosmetology school can take you anywhere between a year, maybe 8 months. It depends on it's your hours. So even though we spent all this time in school, it was literally 1 week on natural hair, and then after that, they taught us how to relax natural hair, how to do a version relaxer or a touch up. It wasn't on how to maintain natural hair. It was nothing on it. It was just like basically how to wear your hair straight, because that was the thing and that was the norm. And now when I sit here and think about it, I was like, dang, like they condition us to just want to know how to just wear our hair straight. Like, what about the people who don't want to wear their hair straight, or who don't want locks or don't want braids? What about those people like me who just want to wear twist out, who just want to wear their curls? Where was their education? So really, even if you're a cosmetology student watching this or whatever, it's all about continuing education, because my education didn't stop there. Even when I got done with cosmetology school, I didn't. What happened? And I got done with cosmetology school. I started working at the mortgage center full time because the money looked good. Finally got a job. Now I'm done with cosmetology school, and so I did that. But even when I, started doing hair full time, and this was, I think I started doing hair full time, I want to say 2013, 2014, something like that. But I was big on doing continual education classes. Like, I would see maybe a stylist is having their hair class, I will, fly or go to classes in the city. So that was the thing. That's how I started to become more educated on, like, oh, okay, this is how you care for natural hair, because it wasn't a lot of that taught. And even to this day, still taking continuing education classes. So I would just encourage that, even for the, hairstylists that might be watching this channel, or maybe you're an inspiring hairstylist and you went to cosmetology school, you're like, oh, that's cool, that's it. No, sis, you need to continue to take continuing education classes, because first of all, you needed to renew your license anyway, but also you want to stay up on the latest trends and make sure you keep your skills up to date. You know what I'm saying? Make sure them hands stay up to date, sis. Okay, keep them hands up to date. But so that's why I learned more about, natural hair. And so even when I was going to these classes, it was more in depth about natural hair. It still wasn't a big thing about hair typing. And I know a lot of people on YouTube get caught up on the hair type and how curly, how loose, how tight their curls is. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in it. And I'm letting you know now, there are a lot of brands and a lot of products that are targeting and saying, this is for 3C or 4B, or, hair. And you don't know, so you're going to buy it because it says, oh, this says 3B or 4A, so I'm going to buy this product because X, Y, and Z. And then they might get the product and then figure out this don't even work the way they said it was going to work, because understanding your hair is more about just knowing how curly and how tight it is. That's not an important thing. So if you're watching this on replay, I want you to go ahead and get out your notebook, because I'm about to give y'all some gems that's going to set some people free, and it's going to help y'all out with understanding your hair that is better and a little bit more deeper than curl typing. So when it comes, this erase curl typing, what I've learned is the depth method. Now with this method, you want to spell it out. It's an acronym I'm about to give y'all that's going to help you out. So the D is for density. Again, write this down. The D is for density. So you need to know what's the density of your hair? So, Lisa, what is density? Density is how many hairs you have on your head per square inch of your scalp. So, for example, with me, if I take, and this is a square, obviously you don't know how many hairs that is. That's going to be too much to count. But you can kind of do a gauge. Like when you take a square, is it full? Is it medium? Or is it thin? Do you have a lot of hair strands in there? Or is it looking real slim? Or is it medium? That's important. You need to know how dense your hair is. The next one is E. E is for elasticity. The elasticity is the ability for you to stretch your hair and it to reform to stretch your hair and for it to go back to its original form. And the reason why I bring this up because I hear a lot of people talk about shrinkage. They do not. Y'all don't like shrinkage. Y'all don't like it, okay? I know y'all don't like it. But don't be mad at the shrinkage. The shrinkage ain't do nothing to you. The shrinkage is actually pretty good, okay? That's a good thing. That is a really, really good thing. I have some clients, I mean, when I tell you they shrinkage is real, like I have one client and she know who she is if she ever watched this video. She might be the client that have like the most shrinkage. When she calm and her hair is wet, it's like right here. But when I blow dry her hair and flat iron it, it's like down here. I said, your hair is so deceiving. It lies the most out of all of my clients. Like, it says, how you go from here and then when I blow it out, it's down here. Kid you not. Kid you not. Her hair is definitely like that. So, but that's a good thing. Like, she can stretch her hair out and it bounces back to its original form. You want your hair to have that bounce back. Excuse me. So a lot of times what you'll see is people with damaged hair, their hair don't bounce back. Sometimes their hair do not bounce back. I just had a video, maybe it was last week, and I talked about heat damage and heat train. And this particular client, her hair did not have that elasticity no more. It did not have that nice, springy, it was not bouncing back the way it should have. So you want your hair to have great elasticity. That's very important. That's going to show you like how healthy your hair is or not. Okay. So so we did D, E, P. P is for porosity. Y'all might have heard this a lot on YouTube or just in the natural hair community. But porosity is the ability for your hair to absorb water. Now, I'm doing all this off my dome. All this off my dome. Because I just know this. So if I miss something, y'all forgive me. But P is for porosity. So, and you can do a porosity test at home. Now, if you're going to do a porosity test, it's better to do it on your shampoo day. So you want to get a strand of hair when it don't have no product on it at all and before you condition it. And the reason why I say that because you want your hair to be squeaky clean. So do this test when you freshly shampoo it. So you're going to take a strand of your hair and you're going to get a glass of water and you're going to drop the hair in a glass of water. If the hair sinks to the bottom, that means you have high porosity. And sometimes you'll see that with people with color treated hair, people who might have relaxers, sometimes even people hair that might be a little damaged, like they use too much heat, like a little bit of heat damage. Low porosity is what you see a lot in our natural hair community. Is what our naturals, we have low porosity. That's why we always complaining, my hair is always dry. That's because, and then your hair is going to be floating at the top. It's going to be low porosity because your hair is having a hard time with that water getting down in there. And then you also can have medium porosity, meaning that your hair is going to be like kind of level in the medium. And that's pretty good. Now I'm going to tell you this. Don't get so caught up on porosity as much because your porosity can change depending on where you stay at, where you live, what's going on, if you have color in your hair or not. And also, your porosity might not even be the same throughout your whole head. For example, you might be natural, but you have color treated hair. You might have highlights. Like, as y'all can see, the ends of my hair got color on it. So the ends can be high porosity, and then closer to my scalp, it can be low porosity. So it can be different even throughout your head. So you have to find the products that's gonna help with that combination of porosity. And also you might have to switch up some things depending on what time of year it is. Like when it's real cold outside or when it's real hot outside, you might need to switch up your product or your hair regimen. So keep that in mind. So the T is for texture. Texture is basically like, is it wavy, is it curly, or is it kinky? Like really coily. We're not getting caught up on that number like ABC. We don't care about all that. Okay, we don't care about all that. All right, it's not that deep. What is your texture like? Is it real coarse? Is it fine? Is it medium? Is it thin? And then also same thing with when it comes to texture. Your texture can be different throughout your head. I have seen some clients around their edges, like in the perimeter, it's like really fine and um just fine and kind of thin. And then as you get right here, it's a little bit more medium and thick. So even your texture can be different throughout your head. It can be looser around the edges and tighter in the middle, and then vice versa. So just know your texture can be different throughout your head, and that's okay. I mean, God, when He created us, He just made us so amazing, especially with natural hair. It's just so versatile and so amazing that it's mind blowing. Okay, so we got the T, and then H is history. What is the history of your hair? And when I say history, I'm even talking about people in your family. So take a look at people in your family. This is why you need to know your family history too, because when you look at your family hair, it can kind of give you a range of what your hair is going to look like when you get older, or maybe some things that you need to watch out for. Like, so if you see in your family that you might be a man watching this, or you might know some men in your family, and you see all the men go bald. That could be something that you might have to be like, you know what? Wow, so I might go bald. Not saying that's gonna be your story, but if you see that runs in your family, DNA plays a lot in our hair too. So you look in your family and you see a lot of women in your family lose their edges. Now you don't have to lose your edges. You can break that generational curse and get some natural hair care tips on this channel and strengthen your edges and save your edges. You can break that generational curse that you see in your family with everybody losing their edges. So you can look at that too, like, okay, what is my family doing? Cause I could fall into that thing where I could not have no edges. Is your family dealing with anybody in your family dealing with alopecia? Scalp issues. All these things you need to know. Look at your mom, look at your dad, look at your grandparents, your cousins. How is their hair? That's history. But not only history of people in your family, but what is the history of your actual hair? How have you been taking care of your hair? Like, is the history of your hair as you got relaxers maybe all your life growing up? You got relaxers. Or what was the history like? Maybe you always been natural, but you didn't really take care of it. Also, when it comes to history of your hair, when was your last trim? How often do you get it trimmed? What is the history of that like? What is the history of you actually getting your hair treated on a regular basis? Or maybe you don't get your hair treated on a regular basis. All these things deal with your history. Another thing to deal with your history is like, how do you normally style your hair? Do you always wear tight braids or tight ponytails, or are you wrapping your hair at night? Like, what is the history? How do you normally care for your hair when it's not done? Or when you do get it done, how do you normally get it done? All those things is what you need to take in consideration versus being so stuck on, what is my hair type? Is it A, B, C, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Don't worry about all that, sis. Don't worry about all that. the depth method. So I hope y'all took notes and y'all wrote this down, because this is going to be a game changer when it comes to choosing your products. And then that way you won't fall for the okie doke when you go in the stores, or you see commercials, or you see advertisements on Instagram and say, oh, tailored for 4B hair. Okay, it might say tailored to 4B hair, but what's your porosity like? What is your ability for your hair to absorb stuff? What is the history of your hair? Like, and also knowing the history of how certain products used to work in your hair. Because you might say, it might be a product tailored to say, this is for 4B hair type. But then you look on the ingredients, say you used to use a certain product, and you look on the ingredients and you see it has the same ingredients, and you knew before that didn't work on your hair. So you can't get that, because you know the history of your hair, you know the history of what you use, and you say, oh yeah, when I use products that had this in it, it didn't work. So you have to be educated on knowing your hair and what's going to work for you, and getting down the depth method. So if you missed it, rewind this back, write it down again, get it in your spirit, and learn more about your hair type. And don't your type of hair history and the depth of your hair. Don't get so caught up on the whole numbers game, because it's just a little thing that they just love to do, a little razzle dazzle. It don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. So that's what I want to get up here and talk to y'all about, was the hair typing thing. So I hope this video brings some clarity to some of y'all and help y'all. And we can actually go in more in depth about the depth method. We can break down each of the letters, and I can do more intense videos on those. So thank y'all so much for watching the Smiles Tribe. Thank y'all for subscribing to my channel. Thank y'all for liking, sharing, and commenting. I really do appreciate all the love. So y'all come back again for another video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.